Welcome back to Breakfast Television. He's been called Canada's Stephen King. Former Calgarian and author Craig Davidson is in town tonight for a Wordfest event, but he's here now to discuss his latest book, The Saturday Night Ghost Club. There it is right there. Good morning to you, Craig.
Good morning,
thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
We're just chatting away about everything.
Yeah.
It's so nice to meet
It's nice
you.
to be
I'm
back
a
in the
big
city.
fan. It's so great. How does it feel to be back in Calgary?
Oh, beautiful. I went out last night to the Palomino Smokehouse.
Oh, yeah.
Which, we used to go there all the time, and it's nice to know that some of my favorite haunts are not only still here, but still thriving, so it's great.
It's great. Wonderful. Well, you have a new book to talk about, so why don't we start there, and then we'll get into some other points as well. But the Saturday Night Ghost Club, what's it about?
It's a coming-of-age story. I've never really written one of those, and I always felt like I wanted to write, a story where a young boy, in this case 12 years old, sort of has a transformative summer where he comes of age, and I wanted to deal a lot with local urban mysteries. Although I spent a lot of time in Calgary, I would say I came of age formatively in the Niagara region, Niagara Falls. So there's a ton of urban myths. Every city and town has them, so I kind of investigated a lot of those.
Nice, nice. And you play a lot with this idea of memory and how it works and how we sort of create our own narrative, if you will.
Yeah.
What does that do for you in terms of storytelling and creating plot?
Well, it's fascinating that, say, if you and I had been friends and grew up together, and we both have this one event, and years later I say, do you remember when that happened? And your memory of it could be completely different from mine, or could vary in some really important ways. Yeah. Because ultimately often the way we as humans deal with memory is that we change them.
Right.
Change them to make ourselves feel better about our own history, to protect other people, for any number of reasons. So I became fascinated with the idea that the event itself is unchanging. The event itself is a piece of history.
Right.
But if different people have experienced the same events, we all remember them differently. Based on, the weirdnesses of our brains.
That's right. And then, of course, you make Jake the brain surgeon, right?
Yes.
So he goes in there and digs around in the brain.
Well, I'm just fascinated with surgeons, that kind of alpha, the way that you need to be, I think, to have that kind of bravado, to go inside somebody's head.
Open up someone's head,
Yeah, and because, something like the human brain is just it's impossible really to properly understand, whether you're a surgeon or anything. It beggars reason in so many ways. So, and just because I'm fascinated with surgeons and surgery, and I enjoy the research, it just felt like a
there
perfect...
it goes.
Yeah.
It came into the book. That's great.
Absolutely.
That's great. So I do have to tell you that your book, Precious Cargo, we discussed as part of our BT Book Club.
Oh, thank you.
And the one thing I noticed is that you've got a Jake and a Calvin in here, and you've got a Jake and a Calvin in Precious Cargo.
Yeah, I guess I like those names, and I also think I like kind of both of those names in Precious Cargo, obviously. Not the names of the actual people.
No, of course, yes.
But I do like to carry those things forward a little bit, and I remember hearing that you guys had done it as the book club, and I felt very, honored because that book was here in Calgary, and obviously people very close to my heart.
Yes, and we loved that book. It had so much heart. So thank you so much for being here, Craig. It was a pleasure to meet you. You've got an event tonight again at Wordfest at the Memorial Park Library from 6 until 8:30 p.m. Thank you so much for being here, Craig. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Lovely to be here.